It is the start of a long 3-day weekend, and my only plans for this weekend is to relax, crochet, clean my house, and take Bear to a vet appointment. And I'm really excited because, well, who doesn't love an empty weekend? But also, I'm very close to finishing my first summer crochet project. I did start this project a couple weeks ago, so it might be familiar if you've watched an earlier video, but here it is. This is the first tank top that I have made from a pattern and seen through to completion, so I'm very excited to have this done. It's a unique pattern, at least for me, because I've never seen a tank top made like this. Granted, I just admitted it is my first, so my experience level is at 0. But it is started out as a very wide panel, and this panel is then seamed up the side, and then it creates the tube for the body. There we go. Creates the tube for the body. This is almost 11 inches tall, which is awesome because that's around what I need it to be. How this pattern works is you're supposed to basically crochet from under your armpit to how long you want the top to be, because then there will be a high neck that is added with crochet lace on the neckline and on the armholes. It'll be a very similar silhouette to this shirt, except the back will remain lower. The back will remain as low as this back is. You really only add, according to the pattern that I'm seeing right now, you really only add the rows in the front, which is going to make it lovely. Right now, it does go, this might be a little awkward, it does go to my belly button area, which is great because I love high-waisted tops. And so once I add a crochet border and then it blocks out, because we know cotton can get a little bit stretchy, it might change in width or length a little bit, but I do want it to remain kind of at that area. Have I gauge swatched this? Of course not. I like the surprise at the end. So anyways, I'm gonna get started with crocheting. We are looking forward to we, meaning Bear and I, are looking forward to a rainy evening. It's quite cloudy outside right now, and so the rain should start any minute. And there is nothing better than turning on a lamp, watching the rain, watching a movie, and crocheting. So I'm really excited. I hope to finish the body tonight. And then if I have the mental fortitude and focus, I will start the construction of the front panel to make it a high neck. So I'm excited to see how this goes this weekend. Fingers crossed we get it done end of Sunday. I'm always very optimistic, but my weekend's wide open. Like, let's just do this, you know? Okay, this is a super bizarre angle, but my hand is really shaky, so I had to prop my phone on something. But I have my blanket on, Bear and my crochet project right next to me. I'm in the middle of the Divergent series. I know the books are so much better, but sometimes you just want to watch a movie from the 2010s. It hits different. And I pulled 3 cookies out of the oven, so those are ready to go. Side note, if you are gluten or dairy free like I am, Sweet Lauren's is the absolute best like pre-made ready to bake cookie dough. If you've never tried them, you simply have to, especially if you suffer from the same afflictions I do. I can find them in Hy-Vee in the freezer section, but my mom lives in a different state and she can find them at a King's Supers. Obviously not sponsored. I have like 200 followers, but I just wanted to say that if you haven't tried it, they're worth every penny. My favorite flavor is the caramel chocolate chip cookie. I can eat too many of those, but right now I'm eating the lemon because that is a limited edition summer flavor. So anyways, let's get crocheting. Okay, I have a little update. I just finished putting in the last couple stitches to seam up this panel. I didn't realize until last night that the pattern asks you to seam up this panel before even adding the high neckline. And so that did take me a little more time than anticipated. This is typically a last step for me. I'm kind of like that I already have it done so I can fly through the rest of the project, but it does ask you to use a mattress stitch. Obviously, I did not do that. I do not like the mattress stitch. I just did a slip stitch. My next question that I need to figure out as I try this on is that the pattern calls for this to go underneath one of the arms, either the right arm or the left underarm, to make it less visible. However, I don't know if I love the fact that this will be super visible compared to this part of the panel that is just continuous fabric. Bear is resting here after his vet appointment. And so I'm wondering if I almost put this part down the center of the back. It'll for sure be more visible, but I'm curious how that would look. So I'm gonna go try this on. I'm gonna figure out if I want this underneath one of my arms or just down my back. It is inside out right now, so I will need to flip it the other way and kind of see how it looks and how I feel about that. So I'm gonna go try that on. But here is the completed top panel, and then there will be lace on the bottom, and then obviously a high neckline up here. I'm really excited to go try this on. Let's see what we're working with on this edge. Okay, I'm coming at you with a super awkward try on, but here is the top so far. I'm gonna hold this up so that way it stays where it needs to be. I think it looks great so far. It goes, you can see, from the bottom of my armpit all the way to about the top of my high-waisted jeans, which I'm always wearing. I love high-waisted jeans. Now, let me show you the seam. I'm sorry, there's a mosquito bite, the brutal realities of living in the Midwest, but here is the seam. It is quite visible. It's not terribly visible. Like, you can see it, you can see it's there, but it's not hideous, right? It's not terribly done. Now, I'm not decided if I want this here or if I want this in the back. Now, a good reason to have it in the back is that I think it would make the counts easier for trying to place the high neck on the tank top. It would just make more sense to have the seam directly in the middle and the back to do those counts effectively, at least for my brain, because I like the symmetry of it all. But I don't mind it being underneath the arm. It's starting to twist, but I don't mind it being here. But I might like it better if it's in the back. So I'm gonna look into that because I couldn't decide looking in the mirror. Now, something I am a little worried about is that as I was trying this on, as I was making it, it barely stretched across my bust. And now that it is on and I'm manipulating it, it seems to be growing bigger every time. I know that cotton stretches. I have no one to blame but myself because I never do a gauge swatch, but I am concerned how big this is going to get. I will say, to me, it'll be a success if it's tighter or if it's baggier. If it's baggier, I can use it across the entire year, and I can actually wear it to work with like a t-shirt underneath it to make it appropriate for teaching. So that's not like a big bummer or anything. I'm just, something I'm discovering that as I manipulate this, it's starting to get bigger when originally it barely went across my bust. And now it's just, she's getting a little big and baggy. So that'll be really interesting to see how this all comes together. So anyways, I am going to eat some dinner, and then I'm gonna actually, for real this time, start on the high neckline here, so that way I can start getting this pulled together, because realistically, this is so cool. Realistically, the only things left on this, high neck, lace, lace, lace. Like, that is so cool. I'm typically a person that does like cardigans or sweaters, so to have a project go this quickly feels amazing. I'm so excited. So let's get to it. That's not a lot of crocheting left, especially because I'm using a 4.5 millimeter hook. It's not like I'm doing a 2.25. Dang, life is worth living. This is incredible. Okay, I will see you guys soon. Okay, so I'm gonna take you along for the journey of trying to figure out where to put the high neckline. I read the pattern and I have decided that I want to put the seam on the left underarm, simply because I was just looking at the pictures and I think it's probably just the best way to go, even though mathematically it would make more sense, at least in my brain, to put this on the back. I'm gonna leave it on the side and follow the pattern. So the pattern says that first you need to measure your self, obviously, and see what fits your body, because it is a made to measure pattern. It does reference things in centimeters, so even though I'm an American and we use inches, I'm gonna go ahead and measure myself using centimeters. So give me a second to try and figure that out. I am very lucky that I am wearing a top that is similar in structure, and so that does kind of help me find where to place the high neckline. Looking at this tape measure, it's saying that 30 is around the best. Now it does say in the pattern to keep in mind that there will be a centimeter of lace on either side of the neckline. And so I think I'm gonna reduce myself down to 29, especially with how much this has been growing. And so I'm trying to hit 29. Now, I'm a guess and check kind of gal. I'm very type B, type C, I don't know, definitely not type A. So I'm literally just gonna like plop that in the middle and see if that works. And then because I'm the way that I am, I have these bobby pins. I don't actually have stitch markers. And I'm just gonna go ahead and place these where these go. And again, this is not meant to be like a tutorial, right? I paid for this pattern, but I just wanna kind of show you my process of how this is all working out. Now that I've kind of placed these where I think they line up with the tape measure, I'm just gonna count really quick and see if they're even, and I can tell that they're not, and it's probably gonna have to be shifted this way, but let's see by how much. Okay, so I'm gonna shift this over about 2 and recount, because as soon as I count the numbers, they leave my brain. And so probably could I have mathed it out and actually figured out how many I needed to shift? Yeah, but as soon as I count, I just go, I remember this one was smaller and this one was bigger, so we're gonna shift and recount, and that's okay. Okay, that's pretty close. That's pretty close to being in the center. I think they're off about 1 stitch. I'm gonna double check the pattern and see if there is a multiple that has to be within this range. And if there is, then I will shift this accordingly. But right now, I think we are looking at approximately how wide my high neck should be. Hi, it is 5 p.m. on Sunday, and I fear the day has almost completely gotten away from me, but I have had some time to crochet, so I did want to share just an itty bitty update. So I do have the front panel completed for the high neck. The pattern said to stop anywhere from like 2 to 5 inches away from your collarbone. This pretty much sits right at my collarbone, so I might need to rip some of this back, but I'd rather rip some back than think I'm ready for the next step and not actually be ready. I was so curious because every time I try this on, it feels like it just grows and grows and grows. And I measured it and it's only an inch bigger than it originally started. And I'm just so confused because if you were to pinch this at the back, and there is this extra layer of black fabric on my t-shirt, right? But if you pinch this, this is far bigger than an inch. I do not know what's happening. So I don't know if I measured myself incorrectly. That doesn't make any sense because I know my bust measurement, but it's growing and it won't stop. And this was my experience last time I used mercerized cotton yarn. And I don't know if we're meant to be friends. I'm trying my best to keep an open mind, but this is also the time in a project where I'm like ready to frog it all. And I'm like, this looks terrible. I've been crocheting since I was 9, but I obviously have no idea how to do this. So I frog it. And I'm just trying to remind myself, trust the process, because I do still need to add straps, some lace here, and some lace around the armholes in the bottom. So I'm just trying to power through. I have plenty of yarn. I'm sitting really nicely there, but this is kind of the project so far. You can tell there's so much space in the back, but I am a sweaty girl, so maybe it's just for the best that it's not completely skin tight, because that might be gross for me. So we're gonna keep going. We're gonna power through, and I guess my worst case scenario is still a good scenario, because this would look so cute on top of like a black t-shirt and like a pair of jeans. I love layering. So I'm just keeping an open mind, try not to panic, and I'm gonna go ahead and start adding the straps and then hopefully move on to lace tonight. Some lace edging. Fingers crossed, let's see what happens. I'm sorry if this is a little bit wobbly. I'm so excited to show off this top that I didn't even set up my tripod. I am wearing the top right now. I probably just finished it around 15 minutes ago. So yesterday was Monday, and last night I was able to finish all of the finishing touches that I had previously not finished on Sunday. And so that included like the armhole lace. I think that was truly it. And I was just too tired to start weaving in the ends. So I got back from work today and I wove in the ends. And there was a surprising amount of ends to weave in for a tank top, but I got it all done in about 40 minutes, 40 distracted minutes. And I'm super impressed. I was looking at footage from Sunday and I was cracking up because I was freaking out about the sizing. I'm not freaking out about the sizing. I'm obsessed. I do still have to block this. So I'm hoping that I don't speak too soon and that blocking completely ruins it. But right now, I want one of these tank tops in like every color. So with that being said, I'm gonna set up my tripod so I can go do a twirl in front of the camera and show this off. My light is fading fast. It's almost 8 p.m. here. So I am so excited. Let's go show you. I don't know if you're prepared for this because I was not. When I put on this top, I was so surprised by how beautiful she is. So let me show you, okay? Oh my goodness. Isn't this just the most beautiful silhouette? There's something about the beautiful little filet crochet, the simplicity of the double crochet, the femininity of the shell stitch border. I am losing my mind over how cute this is. And I don't know why, but every time I purchase a pattern, I am always just so shocked and so dumbfounded when my finished project looks just as good as the photos. And I don't know why, because I purchased the pattern because I want it to look like the photos. But dang, I'm always so impressed with myself. So look at the back. The back is absolutely stunning. I love how understated it is, right? It's just this beautiful thick strap and these beautiful shell stitches. I love it. Oh my gosh. I, of course, have not blocked her yet. So I know that she will grow because she is a cotton yarn. I'm gonna try and encourage the growth to go width-wise and not to go length. A little bit longer is fine. Here's where my high-waisted jeans end. So she's really only like an inch, half an inch longer than my high-waisted jeans, which honestly, I think is a really great length. I do not think this is a terrible length at all. I think she's perfect. I'm worried that blocking will make her not perfect, but you know what? I think this is incredible. Also, I'm noticing I'm a person who likes to wear things that are easy to wear, right? Like I don't like to have to overly style things. I wish I did. I wish I was like a Pinterest girly, but I can't do it. I can't do high maintenance. I love that this top is so bra friendly. I'm wearing just like a normal spaghetti strap tank top underneath, you know, the kind that you wear underneath all of your work shirts. And I think it looks fabulous. Would this look really good with like a white or a tan? Yes, yes, but right now I have black and I think it works. So once again, here's the back. Do another spin this way. Here we go. Truthfully, I think I could spin in front of my camera all day and just look at how beautiful this top is. I think one in white would look super great. I know the project creator made her sample in like a white cream ivory. I think a white would look great. Not for me personally because I stain everything, but maybe like a navy blue, a sage green. I want one in every color. Isn't this stunning? Please tell me it's pretty because I love it. Hi, it has been a busy week and what feels like an even busier weekend. I think I put this on the blocking mats on Tuesday evening and it is now like Sunday afternoon and I'm just getting around to filming this and seeing how it fits after being blocked. I am going to put footage of me trying this on while I talk about it, so enjoy. So when I blocked this on Tuesday evening, I was a little bit worried because cotton has always grown immensely for me. And this did on the blocking mats grow pretty big. There was a whole lot of fabric everywhere. And I was like frantically trying to stretch it widthwise. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much I need to stretch it heightwise. It looked massive. Things always look bigger though on the blocking mats than they are on your body. It's like the 2D versus 3D. Anyways, so as it dried, it kind of shrunk, and honestly, trying it on, it fits perfectly. I don't see much difference in how it fits pre-blocking versus post-blocking. I'm sure when I go back and look at the footage, there will be some difference. Things always get a little drapier, but I was so satisfied with the fit before, and I'm so satisfied with the fit after. It's just incredible. I will say in terms of yardage, I originally bought 4 balls of this Adriafil yarn from my local yarn shop, and I used 2 complete skeins and like a partial third skein. I think I have a fourth of the third skein left, and then I have this. I have been really intrigued about crochet belts lately on Pinterest. I don't know how practical they are, but they're really darn cute, and so you might see this soon in an upcoming project. In terms of the actual pattern, I loved it. This felt like it went so fast. It's a made to measure pattern, so you can use any weight of yarn that you want, any hook size that you want, as long as you just measure your body. I went with this yarn, which says, honestly, there's not a lot of information on this band, but it says that it's a 4.5. Who would have thought? For knitting, it's a 4.5. It says nothing about crocheting. So for knitting, it's a 4.5 millimeter, which is exactly what I use for crocheting. And using that hook size made this thing fly. It absolutely flew. I was able to get this done so much more quickly compared to when I do like cardigan projects. Obviously, there's less fabric to make, but it just felt so nice to get it done so quickly. I would totally recommend this pattern and this pattern creator. I got it off Etsy. I will put all information about the pattern in the description box. So if you are so intrigued, you can go check it out too. I followed the pattern pretty strictly up until I was doing the edging, this cute little border, because I know how to do a single crochet and then a shell stitch border. So I kind of just did my own thing. But up until then, I did follow the pattern very strictly because I didn't want to mess this up. I am a person who, ironically, I'm a teacher, but I'm not good at following instructions. So I struggle sometimes with written instructions. I also struggle with video instructions. I struggle with instructions in general, but when there's pictures plus words, that's when I have a really good time. And this pattern does have pictures and it does have words combined, which was super duper helpful to figure all of this out. I would say, honestly, pretty beginner. There's just double crochets and chains and single crochets. The one thing that probably might trip a beginner up is just like the shell stitch, and then the construction of it all can get a little overwhelming, but it was very easy if you've crocheted before. So I would totally recommend this. And I think that's it for this pattern. I think that's really all I can say. I had a great time with the yarn. I had a great time with the pattern. It went quickly, it went smoothly. What else could you ask for? Now, as I was waiting for this to dry, I of course needed a new project. I say that as there's like 4 things underneath my coffee table looking at me, but they're all winter wool projects. It's like 100% humidity here, clearly, and it's hot. I don't want to work with that. So I started this. Oh my gosh, this was the other yarn I got at my local yarn store. And I'm really excited for this because I was like, what can I make out of this? This is part acrylic, so I'm a little nervous because me and acrylic are typically not friends. But I decided to go through the patterns I already own, and this just looks so cool as the Nami top. I tried the Nami top last year and I used a wool and it was just too dense and it was a cream color and I don't really ever wear cream. And so there were a lot of things wrong with it that just made it look old to me. And I like to look eclectic. I don't like to look old. And so I'm doing it now in this yarn and I think it's coming out so perfect. I'm kind of intrigued. Apparently if you crochet the Nami top tight enough, some of the testers were able to make like a crochet tank top. So I'm kind of open to this being a tank top or this being like a short sleeve kind of situation. I'm not really too particular. I'm just open to whatever it brings. But isn't it stunning? It looks like grape fields, like grapes and all the greenery around it. And there's something about that that I just super duper love. I've been pinning nonstop green and purple. So this really fits the ticket. Anyways, I think that's all I have to say. So I'm gonna close out this vlog and say thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. I hope to have this done soon. I have an upcoming trip and this will just be absolutely perfect to just work on because even though it does have different stitches, it's a pretty mindless like 2-row repeat that is super satisfying to work up. So anyways, see you guys later.